Hello, guys and gals, and welcome, to another episode of our skills and abilities. Today, we're going to be going over another one of the Demon's Tree skills. This one is kind of an odd one. It seems like a replacement for Corpse Explosion on a summoning character. Like, it seems like sort of like a pseudo Corpse Explosion. And we're going to talk about it real quick, then we're going to play with it. We're going to explore it a little bit too, because to be honest, I don't think I know enough about this skill to really do a full video on it. So we're gonna learn together, because this is one ability that I feel like needs testing. It says erupt your demon's blood to damage nearby enemies, dealing physical damage 50 to 70 and fire damage 250 to 350 in a radius of 5.6 yards, and it costs 10% of the demon's life. It's kind of interesting. Is that it costs your life of the demon, but then at the same time, it seems to be kind of tied together with the engorge ability, which heals your demon. However, the healing of the demon requires a corpse in. So it's kind of like Corpse Explosion again. Like, because, well, the cost is offset to the monster's HP or your minion's HP, but then you still need a corpse to heal to make sure that they're staying alive, because you don't want to just suck all their HP away. Yeah, interesting. It does have a really good synergy, though, which is Blood Oath. Blood Oath is an amazing synergy that does massive amounts of like physical resistance, elemental resistance, and even life for your minions, which does make your minions much more tanky. However, the other one is Engorge, which is the one that actually heals your minions. So if we were to build this really quickly, it would probably look something like this. I would probably go Max Blood Oath, Max Blood Boil, Max Engorge, and I would probably do something like, trying to think here, probably grab Defiler, because the Defiler has that really nice, interesting share thing, and then I'd probably just cap out the Goat Man. Yeah, probably cap out the Goat Man. And let's go play with it, shall we? So first, we're going to go ahead and summon our little Goody Goots. And I think what we're probably going to do is we're going to do... Oh yeah, we need points in Demonic Mastery too. So let's do 2 Goatmen and let's do 1 Defiler so we can share the damage. And then we're going to use the Blood Boil. Now the reason why we want the Goatmen is because Goatmen are melee, and we can at the very least make sure that we have somebody around them, you know. And then, of course, we also have access to Engorge, which is we're going to use on the corpses to heal our minions. And you're probably going to end up going back and forth between these. It's kind of like a pseudo Corpse Explosion that eats the HP of your minions, which is really quite interesting. As it levels up, though, the amount of life that you're spending to get that explosion does decrease. And it definitely seems like one of those abilities, since it's got 2 elements, both fire and physical. Looks like it's doing an equal amount of both. Something like amplified damage or lower resistance or various other things like that would definitely come in handy. The Engorge skill seems to work extremely well to heal the minions. That's definitely 100%. Seems like a fairly interesting combo that kind of like devised together. Seems like you're always supposed to use these together, is that basically you're just constantly going around blood boiling, getting that free damage coming out from the blood boils, and then as soon as your HP, your monsters is low, of course you're going to tap your Engorge, suck up a corpse, and heal them. It's not going to be anywhere near as good damage as something like Corpse Explosion, though, because Corpse Explosion is, of course, like a percentage of the monster's HP. And also, the radius of 12 yards, I don't think really comes close to the maximum radius on Corpse Explosion. So damage-wise, it's less. Radius-wise, it's less. Although the interesting thing about this ability is that unlike Corpse Explosion, which can only be used with a corpse, Blood Boil can be used whether you have a corpse or not. And if you do happen to kill one of your Goatmen or your Defiler or whatever, I guess you can always just summon another one, right? That's kind of interesting. Let's put on some more plus to skills, and let's take a look and see like how far this goes up damage-wise. So looking at it right now, we've got 3,150 and 3,150, so it's a dual element at around like 6,300 damage per shot. And it looks like it went up to 15 yards, so we're getting a more and more radius out of it the higher it goes. Definitely seems like it could be a entire build, just simply building around Blood Boil. It's a fire damage ability, but it's also a physical damage ability. I suppose you could also pair this together with the Fire Tainted, or a Conviction aura, maybe on a monster of some type. I mean, I definitely see a build here, and the ability to just like continually spam that on your minions is certainly powerful. I mean, going to like, let's go to Outer Cloister real quick. Going to a zone and just playing with it, you can definitely see potential in the amount of damage it does. I mean, you can clearly see it absolutely clap those monsters. I think the main issue would be running into monsters that are immune to physical and monsters that are immune to fire, which you could try to mitigate by having some maybe amplified damage in the mix, some conviction, some lower res, maybe even consuming one of the minions to get the negative fire res from like the summon tainted, or eating a bind demon that has like a higher negative fire resistance. I don't know. I mean, the synergies on this aren't really that bad. It only requires 20, it's only 60 points synergy. But then the main issue with it is you need something to pop, right? So like you have to have something to pop, and then on top of that, it has to stay alive so that you can actually pop it. So you're gonna have to at least, like bare minimum, it looks like it's an 80-point build, because you're gonna need to grab like a goat man at the very like the tiniest amount like of summons. You're gonna have to have at least one summon that you can utilize this on, if not multiple. Now, an interesting idea with this, because I'm not exactly sure how this works. My understanding is that you get one explosion per summon, right? But there are ways that you can get more summons, and it has to do with the Bind Demon ability. And I'm kind of curious whether the Bind Demon ability causes more explosions or not than like the basic. I mean, let's do some checking here real quick. So let's grab the Bind Demon ability. We're going to go ahead and put 20 in Blood Boil, 20 in Blood Oath, and 20 in Engorge. And instead, I'm going to put 20 points into Bind Demon. And we're going to go bind a demon, shall we? There's a specific demon that I'm interested in for this ability that I think may or may not have an interesting effect on the way the Blood Boil functions. It's there are a couple demons in the game that actually make their own minions, and one of them specifically is probably going to be the best option for this. It's one of the Vile Mothers. If we can get access to one of the Vile Mothers, I can kind of show you what I mean. And we've got Erdars, demons, and what the third type here is. Let's check City of the Damned and see if we have any Vile Mothers in City of the Damned. Regurgitators, Doom Knights, and Tainted. Okay, so we're going to have to go to the next game. Alright, we got Finger Mages. There we go. We got a Grotesque. This is what I'm looking for. Alright, so when you summon a Grotesque, the Grotesque actually has the ability to create its own little minions. And it will create a large number of them. It'll basically just sit there, and it'll start making little babies, and the little babies will be quite useful to you. My question is, with this Blood Boil ability, is do the babies explode as well? That would be my ultimate question here, is do we get baby explosions? Let's give him some time, or her some time, to make like a full little army of babies. The maximum number that the Vile Mother can make, as far as I'm aware, is 5. I currently have 4. So we need one more. There we go. I think that was it. I think he just made the last one, or she made the last one. Could be 80 for all I know. So as you can see, now we have only one summon, technically one summon. But we have 5 little babies, okay? So the question becomes, is do we get 5 explosions with the 5 babies, or 6 explosions rather, or do we only get 1 explosion? Looks to me like we're only getting 1 explosion, not 5. So interesting to test, but doesn't seem to work with the little additional baby summons. You can do this with a couple different monsters, a couple different demons. The shamans in Act 3, as well as the fallen shamans in Act 1 that do the little, like, crappy shamans. They'll summon things. And these grotesques, or the vile mothers or whatever, that make the little weird-looking grotesque worm babies, there's a couple of them that actually have their own kind of summons, and it's pretty neat. But it looks like that blood boil does not work with this particular ability. I mean, thinking about the ability and looking at how it potentially functions, I mean, you can definitely make a build. I don't think that a build would fail. The only thing that I would question is whether or not it would be, like, fast or effective, or whether or not you would be able to keep the minions alive and also keep firing off the blood boils without too much of a point investment. You could, of course, include lethargy in the mix, which does have some negative physical resistance, which would help increase the, like, one side of the equation, the physical damage side. And you could definitely stack on negative resistances through other means. I feel like the ultimate, like, thing for Blood Boil would be a bind demon that has Conviction Aura and Cursed. That would be the ultimal, because you would get the negative fire res from the Conviction, and you would get the negative physical resistance from the amplify damage, and that would allow you to get essentially both sides of the equation and really, really beef up essentially the Blood Boil as much as you possibly can. Yeah. I think that's pretty much it. Also, obviously, using a melee type minion would definitely be useful. And it does seem like having 3 minions is definitely useful in this particular regard, because it does look like you get 3 explosions. So, I mean, if you had the right setup, like with my 3,150 that I'm running right now, so we got, what, 3,150 times 2, which is 6,300 times 3 minions, is like 18,900 damage per blood boil. I mean, it definitely would be a really effective build, damage-wise in, like, big areas. The only question that I would have is whether or not it would do good against, like, single targets, like uber bosses and whatnot. And then on top of that, just, like, keeping the minions alive, like, for during uber bosses, because obviously if they're not alive, you can't blood boil them. I think that's pretty much it for this ability. As always, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe button if you are enjoying the content. And keep watching.